Hi, this time I have worked on a Frontend Mentor challenge called Space Tourism. So if you go to this Frontend Mentor website, and it's an intermediate project and it's also a free plus project, and you can download the starter files which provides the data for that has to be used in the project. So this is the final website after finishing, and it has got a home page, and this explore button, they want to make it clickable, but it doesn't take you anywhere, and I don't know why they have put it here if they don't have any data for it. Anyway, so now you have a destination page as well, and the default destination is the moon, and then you have Mars, Europa, and Titan. Also, you have a crew page in which the default crew is Douglas Hurley whenever this crew page loads. And when you click through these buttons over here, you have all these different crews and their description. All right. And the last one is the technology page. And here you have the technology to launch the vehicle. And if you again click these buttons over here, it will show you the different technologies. Now, I have included a starter folder here. This is the starter code, and in which I have set up the basic pages. So you can go to app.jsx, and for now I have just put home. So let's start the project. All right, so I have included some basic CSS, and you can copy the CSS from this index.css file over here, and also you can copy this assets folder, and remember to put the assets folder in the public directory, not in the src. If you wish to code along, you can just copy the starter code and the assets. And now let's get started with finishing the website. Before starting to code, I have created a component folder inside my src folder, and inside of which I have copied the header.jsx file from the starter code here. All right. Now, next, let's install React Router package. So I always refer back to this website because I forget the command. So let's copy this line of code and paste it here. All right, that has finished installing. Now let's start setting up the routes for this page. So I will set up the route for the header component first, and since this remains at the top of every page, like you can see here, this header component remains at the top of each page. So I will nest the rest of the pages within the route for this header. Let's import routes and route from React Router DOM. So import routes and route React Router DOM. And inside of this app function, I'm going to have a main, and this has a class name of main container, and I have the routes, and let's set up the route for the header first. So this should have a path of slash. The element should be the header, and I need to import this. So import header. I'm not typing this right. Import header from dot slash component, header. And inside of this header, I will nest the rest of the pages. So the first would be the index page, that is our home. So route, this should be our index page. The element should be home. And above here, let's import the pages. So import home from dot slash pages slash home. Next, I'm going to have the destination. So let's copy this and paste it. And the path for this would be destination. The element over here would be destination. And since this did not auto import for me, so I have to manually import it. So import destination from dot slash pages slash destination. All right, the third one would be crew. So this path here should be crew. The element here should be crew. And the last one is technology. So let's have technology, and here this should be technology. All right, and none of them auto imported, so let's finish the imports here. So import crew from dot slash pages slash crew, import technology from dot slash pages slash technology. All right, and before I forget, let's go to our index.js. Let's import browser router from React Router DOM. So I'm going to put a comment here and say router, and I will import browser router from React Router DOM, and I will wrap the app component with it. So the routes are all set up. So let's hit npm start and see what it gives. All right, there is some error. It can't find the header. So let's fix that. There was a mistake from my end. So I had imported the header component in my home.jsx file because I wanted to show you how the header looks. So I need to remove that now because I've already set up the routes. So let's remove this and go to our header.jsx, and let's import the outlet from the React Router DOM. Import outlet from React Router DOM, and also we need the link. So here first let's set up the outlet, and that should be right below the navigation. So here I would put outlet. So all those home and destination, crew and technology page would be displayed in the outlet over here. All right. And inside this nav container, let's change this div and let's put link here to link these pages. All right. So let's have link. I don't know how to multi-select in VS Code, and I always make a mistake there. But here, there are only few links, so I can do it manually, but I really need to learn all these shortcuts. You can fast forward the video if you want. I think that was the last one. And let's give it a save. And for this home page as well, I need to save this. Now let's go back and see how the page looks. And okay, I see the home page that was set as the index page. Then we have the destination, and I think I have not linked the path over here, so there should be a 2. Sorry, my mistake. This should be a slash destination, and this one should be slash crew. I can't type today. This one should be slash technology. All right, now let's see if the links work. Okay, I can see the destination, the crew, and the technology. So the routes for these pages are now set up. And oh, the home link is not working. So let's go back over here, and I've missed out this one. So that should be just slash. Let's check again. And everything is working fine. Now, in mobiles and tablets, instead of having that entire navigation bar, you have an hamburger icon here. So if you click over here, you can navigate to these pages like so. And you can click the sidebar by clicking the cross icon over here. So let's do that. So in my header, I have already included the code. So here is the div with an ID of hamburger. For now, it has got a class of hidden. And also the image for the hamburger is provided with the assets folder that is available on their project in Frontend. And for now, on our desktop, this hamburger is hidden, but once you come to this tablet or the mobile page, you can view this hamburger. Okay, I have included the CSS to display the hamburger in the media queries in my index.css file. So I'm not going to show that to you over here. You can always copy the index.css as I've mentioned at the beginning of the video. Next, let's set up the on-click property of this hamburger icon over here. Now, before doing that, I want to show you that I have created another component called sidemenu.jsx. Now you can copy all this code from my GitHub repo. I'm not showing you the JSX over here because I want to save some time. And it basically covers this part of the JSX. Like when you click on this hamburger, it displays this component. All right, the side menu component, I mean. So let's go back to our header.jsx, and here I'm going to have a piece of state, and let's call it show menu and set show menu. So constant show menu and set show menu, and use state, and let's set it to false by default. All right, I don't want to show the side menu by default, right? I want to show the side menu only when I click the hamburger icon. And the use state was not imported automatically, so let's have use state, and let's have a function called constant handle, let me spell it right, handle menu display. And this should set show menu to not show menu. All right, and down here I'm going to have an on-click property on this div with an ID of hamburger. I'm going to say on click, and I'm going to call this function handle menu display. Let's import the side menu in our header.jsx. So import side menu from /side menu, and here I'm going to say that if show menu is true, then display the side menu component, side menu, and I have given it an ID of close menu and also a property called handle menu display, in which I'm going to pass the handle menu display that I have, that function that I've created over here. So handle menu display. All right, our side menu.jsx, I need to make use of this handle, what was the prop name again? Handle menu display, handle menu display. And over here, this is the div which contains the cross icon. So let me show it to you. So I mean this one. So I need to set up an on-click property for this as well, right? Whenever the side menu opens, just to close the side menu. So let's do that. So here I'm going to have an on-click prop, and I'm going to call this function handle menu display. So let's give it a save and let's check our website. So I want to click on this hamburger and I can see that the side menu opens, and let's click on this cross icon over here and the side menu closes. Now for this header component, I've already added a hover effect, right? So whenever I'm hovering over destination, I have this white border over here. Similarly for the rest of these items. Now, whenever I'm on a particular page, like I'm at home page right now, so this border remains, right? So similarly, if I go to destination, I can see that this destination item is highlighted by this border over here. Same thing for the crew and for the technology. So let's achieve that next. In our header.jsx file, you can see that for each of this nav items over here, this div that contains the link to this nav item, that has got an ID. So for example, the link to this home page has got an ID of home. For the for the destination nav item, this div has an ID of destination, and the same for the crew with an ID of crew, and for the technology, I have an ID of technology. So whenever this home page loads, that is, whenever this home.jsx loads, I want to target this ID and add an active class to this div over here. Let me show you what I meant Right now, I have the home nav item as active, right? So I have an active class to this element over here. Now, when I click the destination and the destination page loads, then you have the active class added to this element that has an ID of destination. And for the home, I see that this class of active is no longer present. Similarly, if I click crew and the crew page loads, so I have an active class added to this element, and also for the destination, the active class is gone. So whenever a page is active, so basically what this active class does is it gives you a border bottom, like so over here. Now, before adding the active class, I want to make few changes in the header.jsx. So I have put the link over here, and instead of doing so, I want to change this to div and make this entire div that contains this nav item to link. So this div should be link instead. So let me do the same for the rest of the nav items over here. Alright, I have finished making these changes, and now let's go to our home.jsx. I want to close the header for now. And here I want to make use of the use effect hook. So let's import that use effect, and I'm going to put the code use effect, and the first thing that I want to do is add the active class as the page loads. So let's set up a variable and let's name it as the link item, and it will select the element that contains the ID. For example, if it's the home page, then it will select the element that has an ID of home. If it's the destination page, it will select the element that has an ID of destination, and so on and so forth. Okay, so document dot query selector, and since this is the home page, so I would select the element that contains the ID of home, and link item, oops, sorry about that. So link item dot class list dot add active. All right, and when the page unmounts, like whenever you navigate away from the page, I want to remove this active class. So I would put return remove the active class. Let me spell that right, as the page unmounts. All right, so link item dot class list dot remove active. All right, so let's see if the home page is getting that white border. All right, so this is our project, and I can see that right now I am on this home page and I can see this white border. I think something went wrong with our CSS, so let me fix that. Okay, now I want to add the same thing when I navigate to my destination and crew and technology page. So let's open our destination.jsx And here I'm just going to copy the code that I've written in my home.jsx. So let me copy this use effect part and paste it here. So the first thing is I have to import this use effect, and also this should be document.query selector. This ID should be destination. So let's see if it works. And yeah, I have this white border over here, and let me do the same for this crew and technology. All right, I have finished adding the use effect to our crew and technology page. So now let's give it a check. So destination works fine, crew works fine, and also we have the border for this technology. So now the header part is all set. On the home page, there is nothing much to do. So let's go to our destination page and let's work on this part over here. And the data for this is provided in the starter files on the Frontend Mentor website. So here in our VS Code, I need to copy that data. All right, so I will create a folder called data, and here I'm going to copy the data.json file that is provided with this project. I have copied the data that was provided. Now this data has got keys like destination, it has got crew, it has got technology. Now each of these keys, it is an array of objects. So we have the destination for the moon, the Mars, the Europa, and the Titan. Now for each of this destination, I have added an ID. This ID was not provided, so I had to add it. And also I have put the assets folder in the public directory. So I have changed the path of this image accordingly. All right, let's go to our destination.jsx page. And the first thing that I'm going to do is import the data. So import data from /data/data.json. All right, and down here I have manually typed all the destination. So instead of doing this, I want to loop over the destination. So let me open this data.json. Okay, I want to loop over all these destinations, and it would automatically put out the name of the destination in the nav, right? So let's do that. So I want to remove all this, and I want to say data dot destinations dot map, and for each item I am going to return a div, right? And this div should have a key of item.id. It would have a class name of, let me check what class name I've put. I think it was destination page content right. And each of this div should have an ID. So I would put item dot name dot to lowercase. All right, and this div should contain this item dot name. All right, and let's give it a save. I also need to add an on click. So on click, and I want to call the function handle destination data. So let me spell handle correctly. Handle destination data. All right. Since I have not defined the function, so let me put that over here. So constant handle destination data. I'll put nothing for now. I'll just check the page. So let's go back to our destination page, and this is the project that I'm running. So let's go to destination, and I see the nav, but it's very small. I think something's wrong with the CSS. Okay, I have fixed the CSS, and now you can see the destination properly. And here you can see that I have a nav item. I have a div for each of these nav items, and each of them has an ID. So this moon has an ID of moon, this Mars has an ID of Mars, and same for Europa and Titan. So I need to add this border effect once I select the destination, same as we did for the header, right? So for that, I need to target this ID over here, right? So let's do that. So in our destination page, let's have a piece of state. Let's call it destination data. So constant destination data, and set destination data, and I would use state, and the initial state should consist of the first destination. Like whenever the page loads, we have the moon, right? So let's set that here. So let's have a property called image, and that should be data dot destinations, and the first element in the array, that is the moon, dot images dot png. I'm selecting the png image. All right, next we have a name, and I would say data dot destinations 0 dot name. All right, we also need a description, and that should be data dot destinations 0 dot description. We also need the distance, data dot destinations dot distance, and we also need the travel. All right, data dot destinations 0 dot travel. All right, let's give it a save. And now in the use effect, I need to add an active class to that link that has an ID of moon, right? So this one over here, I need to add an active class. So let me select this div that has an ID of moon. So for that, I want to do it dynamically, right? So let me put a comment here first. So add active class to the destination items. All right, so let's have a variable called this nav item, and I would say document dot query selector, and here I want to use this ID. So let's scroll down. So each of this nav item div has this ID, right? So destination page content nav item. Sorry, that was the class name. The ID is item.name.lowercase. That is the moon in our case. All right, so let's select that hash, then a dollar sign, and then we have destination data dot name dot to lowercase. All right, so I want to select this item and then I want to add an active class. So nav item dot class list dot add active. And also in this return function over here, I want to remove the active class as we navigate away from this nav item, right? So nav item dot class list dot remove active. Let's give it a save and let's see if it's working fine. All right, you can see that when this destination page loads, we can see this moon by default, right? And also there's a white border under this moon. This moon is active. And I want to do the same for this Mars, Europa, and Titan. So let's work on that next. All right, let's finish this handle destination data function. So I'm calling it here on click and I need to pass the item as a parameter. So here I want to put item, and in this function I would say set destination data, and for the image I would say item dot images dot png. For the name it would be item dot name. Description should be item dot description. Distance is item dot distance, and same thing for the travel, item dot travel. All right, now here where I am mentioning all this description for this for the planet, so this part over here, I want to put it in a different component. So I have copied this entire part over here, that is a div starting with the class name of destination page content right 1, and I have put it in a different component called destination content.jsx. All right, and I've pasted it here. So let's delete it. So let me find out first where the div ends. All right, I need to delete this one, this description. All right, let's import this destination content in our destination file. So I'm going to say import destination content, and I'm going to put it right below where the navigation ends. So this is my navigation, it ends over here. So right below this div, I'm going to put destination content. And for this, I'm going to have a prop called, let's say, planet data. And I'm going to pass the destination data. All right. So in our destination content, let's have this prop planet data, and here I'm going to put planet data.name. This one should be planet data.description. And instead of all right, under this average distance it should have planet data dot distance. So planet data dot distance, and that should be planet data dot travel. Okay. Okay, let's have a look at this destination page. So I have the moon selected by default. Now let's select Mars. So I can see that the Mars is getting selected and this underline stays. And also we have all the data for the Mars displayed here. Same thing for the Europa and the Titan. And we also have this nice spinning image of this Mars, Europa, Titan over here. All right, next let's get started with the crew page. And here I have 4 dots over here because I have 4 crews. Now for the time being, I have hard coded it, but I want to do it dynamically. So let's get back to our VS Code. Let me close all these. And in our data.json, I have this crew, and inside of which the first name is of Douglas Hurley, and I want to display his name and the content over here by default as the crew page loads. So let's do that. So let's open our crew.jsx, and down here I have hard coded all the dots. So let's use a map function. And the first thing that I'm going to do is import the data. So import data from dot slash data.json. Okay. And here I'm going to have a map function that is data.crew.map. And for each item, I'm going to return this div. So let me copy it and paste it. And I will give it a class name of dots. I'm also going to give them an ID. And I'm going to name it crew hyphen item dot id. So it will have for each of the div, the IDs would be crew1, crew2, crew3, and so on. Okay, and this also should have an on click function. So on click, why is it not okay? So on click, and I'm going to put a function, and I'll just call it handle click. Something's wrong over here and I don't know what. So let me fix that. Right, the error is gone. I think it was missing a bracket or something. So I've retyped it and it's just gone. All right, now let me delete all these manually typed div, and of course it throws an error. Handle click is not defined. Okay, let's define that. So constant handle click. I'm going to finish this function later. Let's first see if I can see 4 dots. So let me refresh it, and yep, I can see 4 dots for the 4 crews. Next, I want to show a different crew by clicking this dot. So let's finish the handle click function. So I want to have a piece of state over here called crew and set crew. All right, use state. And the first crew that I want to display by default is this Mr. Douglas, right? So I'm going to have a property of name, and I would say data dot crew, the first crew dot name. Then I have image, and I would say data dot crew dot images. Again, I'm going to select the PNG. Next, I have the role. So crew0 dot role. I have bio dot bio, and I also need the ID. All right, and now let's finish this handle click. So I need to pass this item as a parameter to this function, and over here let me put item. And this, what this handle click function does is it will set the crew data. Okay, so set crew, the name should be item dot name, image would be item dot images dot png. Then we have the role, and let me type out the rest of it. Okay, use state is not defined, so let's put use state over here. All right, now for all these I don't need to hard code them anymore. So let me put over here I need the role. The commander is the role. So I would just say crew dot role. This should be crew dot name. Okay, this should be crew dot bio. And what else? I think that's it. So let me give it a save and let me check. Okay, I can see this person as by default when the page loads, so that's working fine. Now I want to navigate to this page over here, and I don't see the image. So let's see where the image is getting displayed. All right, this one should be crew.image. All right. Okay, let's click the third dot. Okay, all the crews are getting displayed fine. Now I need to do some designing for this dots. So whenever I select a dot, that should remain highlighted. So let's finish that. All right, so each of these dots have an ID, like crew 1, crew 2, crew 3, and crew 4, right? So I need to target this element with this particular ID whenever I click on this dot. All right, we have done the same thing in our destinations page. All right, so let's go back to our crew.jsx, and here in our good old use effect, let me put a comment here. Let's say add active class to the dots. All right. Add active class to the dots. So here I would have a variable. I would just call it dot, and I would put document dot query selector, and I need to select this ID that has name of crew hyphen, then a dollar sign, and this should be crew.id, right? I hope this makes sense. So this selects crew 1, right? Now to this dot element, I would have a class list dot add active. Now let's give it a check. Okay, I have this dot highlighted. So when I move to the next crew, I have this dot highlighted, and so on. Now, when I navigate to the next crew, I want the first highlight to be gone. So again, in the return function over here, I would just say remove active class from dot. All right. So dot class list dot remove active. All right. So let's close this console and let's refresh this page, and I want to navigate to the next crew and the next crew and the next crew. So all these are working fine, and also I'm getting the data for the crew displayed. All right. Okay. Now let's finish our technology page. All right, let's open our technology.jsx file, and the first thing that I'm going to do is import the data. So import data from dot slash data.json. Oops. All right. Now, the first thing that I'm going to start here is with this dots. Now, there are three technologies in the data. So that is why we have three dots. All right. But I want to do it dynamically. So if I want to add another technology, there should be like 4 dots or 5 dots. All right. So let me find where I have put these circles. So here. So I want to replace all this div with a map function. So let's do that. So I would say data dot technology dot map item. And for each item, I want to return this div. So let me copy it and paste it. The span should be item.id. All right. And this div should have a key that should be again item.id. And this should also have an ID. And that would be, let's say circle. So I want to name it as circle 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So let me put a dollar sign and let me have item.id. Okay. Now let me remove the rest of the divs over here and let me check quickly if I have 3 circles. Let me refresh the page and I see 3 circles. And let me open console, sorry, elements, and let me check if the IDs are getting displayed. Fine. So I think it should be here on the left. I can see all these IDs. So circle 1, circle 2, circle 3. Next, let's have an on-click function for these circles over here. So here I'm going to say on click, and I'm going to call this function handle click again. All right, let me define this function. So constant handle click, and I would pass this item as a parameter. Okay, now let's have a piece of state and let's call it tech data and set tech data use state, and we need to display this launch vehicle by default when this page loads, right? So again, the same thing like we did for the rest of the pages. So let me have a name that should be data.technology, the first element, technology0.name, right? Then we have description. This should be again data.technology, the description for the first element. Then you have the image. Again, you have to select the PNG dot images dot png, and I think it should be a portrait, not png. Sorry, you can check the data file. And also we need an image for the tablet and the mobile phones. So there are two properties actually. If you see the data.json, let me open it for you. And in this technology, you can see a portrait and this landscape image. So we are using the landscape image in when we are using a mobile or a tablet. All right. So just let me put image landscape. All right. And I'm going to put it as data dot technology 0 dot images dot landscape, and we also need the ID. All right, let's finish our handle click. So here it should be set tech data, and the name should be item dot name. Next we have the description, item dot description image dot portrait. Okay, then we have image landscape, Oh, I'm typing it wrong. All right, and also I need the ID. Let me give it a save. And use state is not defined. Okay, so let me have use state over here. Let me give it a save again. All right, now down here, so this should remain the same, I guess, the space launch 101. And for this image, now the landscape image we need only when we are viewing the website on a tablet or a mobile phone. So those are handled in the media queries. Now for the desktop, this image remains hidden, and but we still need to add the source of this image, right? So this should be take data dot image landscape. All right. Now this terminology remains the same, and we should have another image. So let me see if I'm missing out anything. All right, here. This should be tech data dot image. All right. And for all these content, I need to this one should be tech data for tech data dot name. Okay, and this part over here should be tech data dot description. And what else? Okay, I need to give an alt over here. So for this alt, I would just say tech data dot name. All right, and also I need to change this alt prop for the landscape. So this should be tech data dot name as well. Now let me give it a check. Let me refresh this page. And if I click on 2, it gives me spaceport. On 3, it gives me space capsule. And the content is also changing. Now I need to handle this highlighting property, right? When I'm clicking on this button. So let's work on that next. Now we need to select these circles according to the ID that we have provided. So it's basically it's the same thing, right? The one we did for the destination page. So here we have used this procedure in the nav elements over here. On the crew we have this dots, and for the technology we have the circles. So let's do that again. We'll make use of this use effect hook, and let's write add active class to the circles. So let's define this variable as circle. All right, so this should be document dot query selector, and we have named it as circle 1, circle 2, like so, right? So circle hyphen, then we have a dollar sign, then we have tech data dot id. All right, now the circle dot classless dot add, have to add the active class, and also in our return function we need to remove the active class. Excuse me. Circle dot class list dot remove active. Let's give it a save and see if it's functioning right. Okay, so this one is getting selected by default when this page loads. Now let's click on 2 and the 2 gets highlighted and the content also changes. Let's hit 3 and the same thing happens. Right, I have come to the end of this project, and one last thing, I want to check how this looks on the mobile and tablets. So I have Samsung Galaxy S20 selected here, and this is how it looks over. And if I click on this hamburger, I see the side menu. If I click on destination, let me close this and I can see the moon, Mars, Europa, Titan. Let's go to our crew. We can see Mr. Hurley. We can see Mr. Mark, Victor, and Ansari. Let's go to technology, and here I can see the landscape image of this space shuttle. We can see the spaceport and the space capsule. So that's it for the project. See you in my next video. Thank you.